you're living the dream, or you're so lucky, or you're literally doing what I've always been dreaming of, is what I always get when I'm saying, hey, I'm a digital nomad and I love it. But I wish people would understand the whole picture of what it means to be a digital nomad in our current times. Let's begin by saying that this is my very personal experience, and you may experience something completely else. I also have to say that the kind of digital nomadism that I do is probably a bit different than what everybody else understands. I am a slow traveler, and I will make a home in a place for a couple of months before moving on. And I also have returned to living in the same place a couple of times because I loved it so much. But I have lived in different countries, in different cities, also in different places in my home country, also in the Alps, in the Mediterranean. So I've always been on European time zone because I also work with European customers. And what I also hear a lot from people is that they couldn't do what I'm doing for whatever reason. And I just think, that's weird. I'm literally employed. I'm employed at a software company, but I don't even code. I work in sales. So yeah, I can do it. You can do it too. Of course, if you have family to take care of, kids or pets, that's a quite different story, but it's still possible. Number one is quite obvious, but people don't think about the consequences of that. You're derooting yourself every time. You're not growing roots in one place. You always have to re-establish your friends, your social group, your favorite dance class, the best supermarket in town, your ways of walking, everything. You'll always have to start from scratch. That, on the flip side, means that you'll always be presented with new experiences and that you'll learn to adapt to a new environment pretty quickly. But it can also be exhausting, and I'm always missing my friends from home. If something happens with family, you're a far time away from them. It's difficult to navigate the jungle of paperwork that you have to go through. It's also a very new thing, and most countries' legal situations don't really know how to deal with it. So you'll be filing different forms of visas, explaining your situation to authorities, always navigating some paperwork that you wouldn't have to do otherwise. But again, you'll get good at it, and also for some people it may be an advantage from a tax perspective to live and earn in a different country from their own country. You can also factor that in, that visa situation or the tax situation, as you're making your decisions as to where to go next. And hang on, it's worth it. I mean, oh, look at this backdrop. Wow. Another thing that most people don't consider is the economic and environmental impact of what they're doing. One disadvantage, not for me personally, but for society as a large, is the environmental and social impacts that no one is talking about. So economic and social impact in the terms of that you bringing money into an economy will outprice some people who are at the lower end of the income spectrum. Prices have skyrocketed because of foreign capital has flushed in the form of digital nomads, just rising the prices so high as that local people cannot afford it anymore. So if someone has a flat and it sells for a higher price or it rents for a higher price, of course, as the owner, I would do that. Very simple, simplified example, but that's the way. In Barcelona, you cannot get a spot anymore as you have an average national income. In Medellin, people are pushed out, local people are outpriced. And I think that we don't talk about this enough. There is a way to mitigate that, and it's for you to cut down your expenses to the national median salary. Of course, a lot of people would like to kind of feel the benefits as well of their dollar or the euro or the currency that they earn in being stronger compared to the currency that they're spending in. But of course, it's going to have an economic impact on the people who live there for real and who have no chance of escaping there as well. We're literally destroying people's livelihoods through raising the prices so that they can't even afford to live or eat anymore. Of course, that's somehow evitable by really trying to understand the local price level, trying to live on a budget that's similar to the median income in the region that you're going to. Especially when it comes to local markets and stuff, I would always advise to try to get a good bargain even. Like, try to do as the Romans do and negotiate the prices, and also try to, see it as an opportunity to live below your means. Another second point is the environmental impact of the traveling itself. So as you are flying, especially, of course, the emissions are going to be particularly high. So I try to choose to travel by ferry or car or train whenever possible. But of course, I don't make 100% of my travel decisions based on the most eco-friendly way. And I think that we have a few levers on a personal level to really influence where we are going with our planet, and that is to vote and root for politicians who lead in environmental issues. And the other way is our own personal behavior, and the highest impact in that regard is aviation as well as housing, but aviation takes the biggest cut. So that's unfortunate that we haven't found a way yet to travel with lighter ecological impact. That's the way it currently, unfortunately, is. And I think we have to be aware of what we're doing and the consequences of that to our societies and to the livelihood of our planet, basically. Aviation is the biggest lever that we have as tiny little humans in this system to make a change. This is my bike that I very dearly missed when I was staying in Italy. It would have been way too complicated to transport it, and also it was very dangerous to drive there, even by car. So I'm very happy to have it back in a new location. So when you're traveling and working at the same time, there goes a little bit of this magic that traveling usually has, of having absolute freedom on how to create your days. And it requires a lot of strength and character to keep showing up every day by yourself, not having someone to report to on a daily basis. So yeah, you just have to be able to sit down for 8 hours a day or however much you choose to work and keep going without anyone enforcing you to. I love that. I love that I can create more or less my own schedule, that I have the liberties to take a midday walk and work an hour later, or sleep in and work 3 hours later in the afternoon. But of course, you have to have some kind of discipline, self-discipline, to be able to maintain that. And to be honest, it's really, really annoying to try to find a place to live every time you move country or place, because you need stable internet. We need 2 offices at the house. That's not really affordable everywhere we go, so that's also a quite limiting factor as well. It's so pretty. But all that being said, I just love this. I mean, look at this view. Look at this backdrop. And then maybe the day after tomorrow, I'll be at the sea, hanging out at the beach. I love this lifestyle, even if it's not always easy. It's sometimes really difficult to deal with having to adapt all over again. But for me, it's absolutely worth it. I've been doing it for 2 years now, and I don't think I will stop anytime soon. What I am experiencing is that the times that I will stay in one place are getting increasingly longer, giving me more time to dive into the local culture for real and not just being a superficial level tourist for that matter. And I could imagine even buying one place to return to after a while away. And you can't accumulate cute stuff. I think that's a good thing. It kind of keeps my wardrobe and my personal items and my belongings to a minimal space, but I love cute stuff. Yeah, we have a storage place, but that means I have to carry my shit around. I have to always consider when buying an item whether that's worth carrying the extra weight, or can I really go without a bunch of great knives? The answer is I cannot. But in any case, you'll have to kind of navigate and balance out how it feels to own less and also make your identity less attached to material things. And I love that actually. The last flip side, for me personally, a big one, for others maybe not that important, is that not all weird hobbies are available everywhere. For example, I train in circus arts, and that's not quite a usual thing. If you go to the middle of nowhere, there's not gonna be an aerial training spot just for you, because there's just too little people to create some kind of demand for that. And yeah, that means you can pick up new hobbies as you go. That means that you can pick up new hobbies as you explore new places. But maybe you're like me and you'll just end up with a huge bunch of very expensive hobbies that you can only do in particular places. And yeah, I love this kind of life. I will never get bored, but I think it's hard for people who really want to be very good at something very, very specific. I'll definitely don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I love this lifestyle. I mean, I'm just very happy to explore different places, but I think you have to have some kind of energy for it. For example, I had been very depressed a few years ago, and I would not have been able to maintain the lifestyle that I have right now, because at that time in life I was craving for safety and certainty and waking up to a day tomorrow that I have planned out. So I don't think it's for everyone at every stage of life, but for a few years, certainly worth the trial. I would love to know what your experiences are with working and traveling at the same time, or even being a full digital nomad. Just tell me in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. I just realized that was maybe not the best filming setup, but time's up, so you're just gonna have to squint your eyes like I did.